Welcome back to Mr. Creepso. There's a specific kind of exhaustion that hits when you have been driving for 10 straight hours. Your eyes burn, exit signs blur, and all you care about is finding a clean bed. Today's story comes from a viewer who learned the hard way that a cheap room key can cost a whole lot more than $60. If you appreciate grounded horror stories, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Now, grab a seat and let us get into it. This is Don't Stay in Room 307. It happened in late October. I was driving through Northern California near the Oregon border. It was just after 1:15 a.m., and torrential rain turned the highway into a black sheet of glass. Exhausted, I took an exit onto a dark pine-lined road. A mile down, a flickering red neon sign cut through the fog. The Pineview Lodge. It was a rundown two-story motel from the 1970s, with peeling paint and an empty lot. I jogged through the downpour into the stale-smelling lobby. Behind the counter sat an older clerk in a faded flannel jacket. "Just a single room," I said. He pulled down a brass key with a green tag marked 307. "65, he rasped, staring past my shoulder into the dark lot. His hands shook as he ran my card. As I took the key, he gripped it tightly, forcing me to look him in the eye. "Once you lock that door, you do not unlock it for anyone," he whispered. "We get wanderers off the highway. Throw the deadbolt, keep the chain on, and if you hear knocking after 2 in the morning, ignore it." I took the key, drove around to the dark back lot, and walked up the wet metal stairs to the second floor. Room 307 was tucked into the far back corner against dense pine trees. I unlocked the door, stepped inside, and flipped the switch. A bedside lamp lit up a faded floral bedspread, a vintage desk, and dark drapes. I shut the heavy door, turned the deadbolt, and slid the security chain into place. Exhausted, I fell asleep within minutes. At 2:14 a.m., the bedside phone rang violently. I picked up the receiver. "Hello." Nothing but wet static and soft, ragged breathing. Then a thin, distorted whisper said, "He knows you are in 307. Look under the frame." The line went dead. Terrified, I turned on the bedside lamp, got onto my knees, and pulled back the dust ruffle. Illuminated by the light were deep, violent scratches dug into the oak bed frame. Carved over and over in thick block letters was, "Don't stay in 307. He has the master key. My blood went cold. Panic set in. I frantically pulled my boots on, grabbing my jacket. Then came 3 slow thuds against my door. Through the thin wood, brass keys clinked together. A key slid into the lock. The brass handle turned, and the door was pushed open, catching hard against the heavy deadbolt with a violent clack. Through the 1-inch gap, a shadow shifted. A pale, sunken face with a bloodshot eye leaned down, staring directly at me. It was a gaunt man with long, wet hair wearing a filthy coat. "I know you are in there," he whispered. "Unlatch the door. I need to get inside." "Get away from my door!" I screamed, grabbing a heavy flashlight. He raised a rusted master keyring and threw his weight against the frame. The deadbolt plate groaned, screws loosening. Knowing he would break through in seconds, I acted. I yanked the deadbolt open and slammed my shoulder into the door with everything I had. The door violently hit the intruder, knocking him backward over the walkway railing. His keys dropped to the concrete. I sprinted down the metal stairs, ran to my car, scrambled inside, and hit the ignition. As my headlights swept across the second floor, the gaunt man was standing outside. Room 307 in the pouring rain, holding his key ring, staring silently down at me. I slammed the car into drive and sped away. 5 miles down the road, I called 911 from a gas station. Deputies met me, checked the motel, and returned with my duffel bag. "The room is empty," the deputy told me. "The guy used to be head of maintenance here. He was fired months ago for stealing, but kept his master keys and lived in the woods behind the lot. The clerk was too terrified to report him, so he rented you the room anyway. They found his sleeping bag in the vacant room next door, along with a shortwave radio wired into the motel's internal phone system. He monitored room check-ins and made the call to panic guests or wait until they fell back asleep. I got lucky because I threw the deadbolt. Now, whenever I travel, I always stay at major hotels, and the very first thing I do is lock and chain the door. Thank you for watching, Mr. Creepso. Like, subscribe, and drop your thoughts in the comments. Until next time, watch who holds the keys.